This is your host, Ayesha. We are here with our health and wellness segment today with Neelofer Basaria, our health and wellness coach. And we are talking about such an exciting and interesting topic. It's the hidden lessons about food that we learn as children. How are you?
I am doing well, Aisha. You look nice, pretty, back to your usual,
I wish. Yes, there's a lot of hard work ahead. So, we are going to be talking today about this very important topic. I want to remind you that Dr. Basaria's Instagram handle is DRBASARIA, Dr. Basaria. She has a Facebook group which is free, which has such amazing information in there. It's called Beyond Weight Loss Root Cause Healing for Women, because you have to get to the root cause of it all, otherwise, it ain't going to happen. All right. So we talked about a little bit briefly about this topic. And when we talk about the hidden food lessons of childhood, what positive and negative messages can children actually absorb beyond simply what is served on the plate?
Yeah, such an important question, Aisha. Thanks for asking. So, children, they learn about food not only from what we serve, but how we speak about food. How is their experience,
Mhm.
right? Together, what experience that we create. So, for instance, one thing that is very positive that they learn is food brings everybody together.
Yeah.
Everybody sits on the table, the family is together,
Mhm.
and meals bring us together. So
Okay.
that's a positive message.
Okay.
Another one is when we make our cultural food, we introduce our culture to them, right? So our family recipes,
Mm.
that is how we transmit, or we give them what we have acquired from our parents. So our culture, very important. Another thing is gratitude, that we tell them, we are grateful for what we have, so they learn gratitude. Generosity, because when we share food
Mm.
with guests, with
Yeah.
our neighbors, with people who need more food, like when we help out, so they're learning the concept of generosity.
Mm.
Also, when we create variety in our meals, so we have like different colors of vegetables, and we present, we have different grains, different meats, right, different kinds of proteins. So we are showing them that food is nourishment, food is interesting, food is color, food is not something boring. So those
Yeah.
are positive things that kids can gain from this experience with us when we serve them food. But then there are something negative too, that
Mm.
if we are not conscious about it, although we don't intend to transmit that or give that to our kids, but they unintentionally go to them.
Mhm.
What are some of those things? um, if we are constantly talking about some foods as bad foods, or they are fattening,
Oh.
so what is that creating?
Mhm.
Kids are going to approach food with fear, because now they're associating, oh, this food is not good or bad, or it make me look a certain way, which then we shame our bodies for, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So creating fear. If we have this rule of, okay, we are going to um, empty the plate
Mm.
every time when we eat, we don't get up without emptying our plates.
Mhm.
So what is that creating? That this external rule is more important than what my internal body is giving me or
Mhm.
telling me, the signals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then that supersedes, because that's our rule. We don't
Yeah.
waste, we get up with finishing our food. Then another thing that unintentionally happens is when we reward with only with food. So
Mm.
then, children are getting the message that we have to do, we some foods are earned.
So
So
clean
we
your
have
room, get an
to,
ice cream.
yes.
Mm.
So you earn certain foods, and when you do good things, then you get these foods.
Mhm.
So then unintentionally, they're saying, okay, this is a reward. Or when we comfort with food, so you had a tough day, you have big feelings, so
Mm.
here, I'm
Okay.
going to make you feel good with food,
Mm.
rather than talking about the feeling, working with the feeling, right? So the important thing is that we don't have to worry about like one instant or one meal or one sentence that we said.
Mm. It's the
What we
whole
are
culture.
trying is, this trend, or this something that is we are building with consistency, that we are saying, okay, uh, this is the food, like the reward that I talked about, or the
Mm.
comfort that I talked about, and
Hmm.
it's consistently going on. So for
Yeah.
example, if there are two families, you have a dessert. One family ate, didn't make a big deal about it, they ate intentionally, mindfully, shared the dessert, moved on.
Hmm.
The other one is constantly talking about, okay, how we are going to get this when we finished doing this. This is a reward. All day long, it's been talked about.
Hmm.
So you see, the same food but different message,
Yeah.
right?
I feel also just in our Desi culture, everything revolves around food. All the social activities, अरे इनके घर जाना है लंच के लिए, इनके घर जाना है डिनर के लिए, या चाय की दावत है, या पिकनिक पे जाना है, चलो खाना क्या हम लेंगे. That's the activity that's planned.
Yes.
Everything revolves around food, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
when we consistently do those kind of things, that is a problem. One instant or the other is not. So
mhm.
what we have to reinforce is the positive things that we talked about
Right.
from the food.
And I feel one of the biggest negative things about children and food is you're not a good person because you're a fussy eater or you
Hmm.
don't finish what's on your plate.
Hmm.
We equate good and bad behavior with how the child eats their meals.
Yeah. Yeah. So see, if you think about it, our parents, when they were saying to us, okay, finish the meal,
Hmm.
right? It was not because they wanted us to disregard our body signals. So that
Mhm.
was not the intention.
Hmm.
Why did they say that, you finish your meal? Is because food cost money,
Mhm.
right? So you don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
Somebody worked hard to prepare it. So you
Mhm.
want to respect that. And
Mhm.
they actually wanted to feed us so that
Yeah.
we get all the nutrients, right? So that was the intention.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that don't guide your kids. So we are not going from guidance to no guidance.
Mm.
You still have to explain to them the importance of food, not wasting it, respecting it. All of that is very important. But if the focus is on, okay, this is a rule, we finish our plate and then we get up,
Mhm.
right? So that should not be there. That what instead we can do is, as parents, we can tell our kids, okay, let's start with a smaller portion and
Mhm.
see,
Mhm.
finish that portion, and once you see that, yeah, you are more hungry, then take some more, instead of loading their plate with food, and that my kids should eat all of this and should get every kind of nutrient right now here,
Mm.
right? So if the focus goes towards, okay, we'll portion it, we'll see, okay, first we take
Mhm.
it,
Mhm.
how it's going, and then there's no problem. If you are more hungry, then take some more.
Mhm.
And then, even if sometimes when the child has not assessed properly and they uh, heard their body signals that they are full,
Full.
then saving that food is also respecting the food. So it's
Mm.
okay to then, take it, save it, or keep it outside for some time.
Mhm.
If you feel like the child is little and they are going to come back like within 30 minutes,
Mm.
have them take their food again.
Mhm.
Saving the food is not a problem. So keeping that in mind, and portioning it, all of that is a better way to approach and give the same message that we have to respect, we don't have to waste,
Mhm.
rather than just having a rule and just go by that, and just that will teach the child completely disregard your inner signals.
Right. How do children learn to trust or stop trusting their own hunger and fullness signals?
So see, children, when they are young, when they are very young, right? So normally we as humans, we do get these signals, and the younger child, a toddler, would just move their face away from the food, or they would not open their mouth, and then we will sing, or we will entice them, or we will show them a toy, and we will have them open their mouth. But then the natural instinct is saying, but the parent has decided that no, this bowl has to get finished,
Yeah.
because now of course I have to go about my life too and do things. I don't want to come and feed her every 10 minutes, right? So I understand the intention behind. As the child is growing, then they still are getting their body signals. So it is very important that we let them practice, sit with food, and if they say, okay, I'm full, that we allow that. Because if we don't, what are we doing? We are not even letting them practice to hear their inner signals. We're saying,
Yeah.
no, this is something that needs to be finished. So that trust develops gradually. All right. And another thing very important is, Aisha, we have to make sure that the kid is not eating while distracted with technology, right? So we give them iPad and they are eating and they are watching something. They will never be able to fully hear their body signal. So how are you going to then develop that trust in your body, that I understand that when my body is full, I have to stop, right? Similarly, as adults, when we are sitting and with a movie and a bag of chips, the bag of chips will be gone, right?
Yeah.
Because we are not hearing, we are not connected to
Yeah.
to hearing our body. So this trust develops gradually, and we have to stay connected. So I think distraction is a big killer of us listening to our body. We need to take that away, and we need to give kids practice to start hearing their inner signals, and that's a very good thing to do.
Absolutely. And you talk about distraction. I think one of the key distractions that is used now is electronics.
Exactly.
And I am amazed at how many parents. It used to be a rule in our house that you cannot turn the TV on while the children are eating, right? But of course, grandparents were a different issue. They would immediately do that. And they're like, कितने आसानी से वो खा लेता है खाना. मैंने कहा,
Right.
yes, exactly. That's the whole point. So now it's amazing how many parents just hand their kids a phone or an iPad and say, चलो बच्चा, आप देख लो और खा
Yeah.
लो. So
That is
then
exactly the thing we should not be doing.
so they're ignoring their signals. Then it's
Yeah.
distracted
Yeah. For a
eating.
long term, you're setting them for failure, because they won't hear their body signals and they won't trust it,
So
because they
just
haven't never gotten the
yeah.
practice of it. We always distracted them.
So
Right.
just like distracted driving is terrible, distracted eating
Is not good
is
either.
not good
Yeah.
either. Okay. You talked about such an incredibly important point, and that is the concept of reward, using food as a reward
Yes.
to motivate them or to brighten their day. Okay, oh, you did so well. Here you go. Here's a candy bar or
Yeah.
chocolate or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, what's the more balanced way for parents to think about this without making parents feel that they're actually doing something wrong?
Yes. So see, if your child got good grades and the whole family went to eat ice cream, that's not a problem,
Hmm.
right? Or if they had a difficult appointment with the doctor and then you offered a snack. I mean, I'm not talking about taking fun and pleasure out of food, or not celebrating with food, or things like that. These instances are allowed in a normal life. But what we are talking about is consistently creating a reward system with food. Okay, so you're consistently using food as a reward.
Okay.
So if you will exercise, if so how that turns out then as we grow and as an adult, if I exercise, then I can eat now. Now I justify this dessert because I exercised for 2 hours, or I was good the whole day. Sometimes we mix this with fast too. When we're fasting, you're like, I did not eat anything, so now let's feast.
Mm.
You see? So this is a reward mentality. I did this, so now I get this. I exercise, so now I can eat this dessert. Right? Or I was so good the whole week, so now I can have a cheat day.
Mm.
So that mentality is something which is like consistent. It is developed as a mentality. I'm not talking about one reward here, one celebration there. I'm not talking about that. This is like a consistent way some families do that. The food is associated as reward.
I
So
see.
that is where we need to look at, and parents need to look at different rewards.
Mm-hmm.
It is not reward is only not with food. Reward, you can create a reward with um, having a game night, going to the park, a movie night,
Mm-hmm.
right? A one-on-one time with a parent. See, kids are looking for attention. They are
Mm-hmm.
looking for connection,
Mm-hmm.
and so create that as a reward, as opposed to just always going to food. Same with, comforting with food.
Yeah.
If the kid has a tough day, you know, going for a walk
Mm-hmm.
or playing with them, like, just um, shrugging that off, like whatever happened, and then, at an appropriate time, talking about the feeling, creating comfort by working with the feeling rather than
Mm.
just, okay, let me fix you something and now you will feel better because you had a tough time or tough day or tough feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So changing our mindset around reward, what else can be used
Okay. Got it.
rather than just food?
All right. How can the way adults talk about dieting and weight and certain foods influence children, even though the comments may not be directed towards them?
Yeah. Because see, children are such an important thing, right? Children are listening to us, even though we are not commenting on them, we are
Mm.
commenting on ourselves, but they are listening and they're getting the message. So if I ate something and then I felt bloated and then I'm like, oh my God, I look terrible,
Mm.
right? Or my comment is that I ate this and now I have to burn it off
Mm-hmm.
with exercise. So now exercise is seemed as a punishment,
Yeah.
right? Food is seemed as, something that that if we eat more of, I can shame my body with that. Or if I say I don't have self control, I always say no to myself and I do this. So now
Mm.
guilt. You see the emotional pattern
Right.
that starts.
Right.
So the child is hearing all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how can we, the important thing that we have to remember is I have to be more intentional. I'm not talking to you and not saying that, be very like particular about your words or just fear saying things or just pretend that you love your body or things like that. I'm not saying that. What
Mm.
we can say is, if you ate something and you're not feeling good, right? So you say, this food not made me feel best in my body right now.
Yeah.
Or, I'm not feeling my best.
Mm.
Rather than saying that, oh, I have self-control issues and I hate my body and I look terrible, body shaming,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to body shaming, you can say, this is a reflection. I did not feel my best with this food. Or um, with for exercise, do not portray it as punishment. Say, if I move and I
Yeah.
exercise, I feel healthy and I feel more energized.
Mm.
So I'm going to go and exercise. You see,
Yeah.
the message is different. It's not coming out as punishment. Although, after eating that food, you are going for exercise, but you're not portraying it as punishment.
I
Or
see.
you're not going in the guilt cycle, or you're
Mm.
not going in the body shaming cycle. So a child can see that like two people, this one has a dessert or slice of cake, and this one has a slice of cake. This one is constantly body shaming, and this one is going about, they recognized and they heard the message and they're like, okay, I'm not going to, this is not serving me best. Or the other person is saying, oh, I don't have self control, I look terrible. So you see emotional message. So that's how food then creates that emotional cycle, that of the spiral of feeling bad and
Mm.
guilty,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
What does body shaming do? And I've seen this. A lot of parents tend to body shame their kids. Okay, oh, you're so overweight and you don't look good. And I know they come from a good place because they want their child to be healthy. right?
Mm-hmm.
But what does it cause when
Yeah,
we talk
see,
like that?
we as parents, no parents want to, fail their kids, right? So we are saying these, but just understand that what kind of message this is giving to the child, right? Unintentionally, we are creating a guilt cycle. Unintentionally, we are creating a body shaming cycle. Unintentionally, we are saying, like, if now you ate this, now go for exercise, right? So unintentionally, we are creating that as a punishment, which we just talked about. So we just have to be more intentional. If you really want, and we all as parents, we want the good results for our kids,
Hmm.
think long term,
Mhm.
right? Think long term. Don't We really have to um, think before we speak in that
Yeah.
term,
Yeah.
right? And we have to say, okay, my long term goal for this child is to be healthy and happy. And so, how do I positively create that?
Hmm.
Positive psychology works, right? So, giving that message about food that, for myself, like, I'm not saying to you, for me, this food didn't make me feel my best,
Hmm.
that we talked about, or I feel good with exercising. And so role modeling, a lot of times role
Yeah.
modeling, giving positive messages around these things will then itself will, you know propel the child in the right direction rather than shaming them, blaming
Hmm.
them. That what that will do is that will stop the cycle of change. If you really want change, the change cycle propels with positive psychology. It does not, like, for the time being you may see some action, yeah, and you'll see, oh, okay, I shamed her and now she's gone for exercise, or she's not. But that is very short. That the life of that is very short, right? So we have to look at long term.
Hmm.
And so that's how we have to strategize, and so that we are not creating guilt, we are not creating shame, all those kind of things, rewards around food. Those are wrong messages.
Yeah. And I think we can create all this through positive role modeling. There's
Yes,
like, there's so much peer pressure in my house to go to the gym.
exactly.
Everybody kind of motivates each other to do that.
So that's the vibe, that's the
Yeah.
trend, right? That
Yeah.
we don't go to exercise as punishment, we look forward to it. This
Yes.
is something that energizes us, this is something that gives us strength,
Mm.
energy.
Yeah.
So the positive mindset.
Right. Now, why do some childhood food habits show up in adulthood, even when we understand nutrition and we've listened to so many of Dr. Basaria's clips and and genuinely want to change, but still those childhood habits
Yeah,
manifest themselves in adulthood?
yeah, it is because of that autopilot programming, right?
Hmm.
So say if all your life you have soothed yourself with sweet, right? And that's like we don't address the feeling, we numb it with
Mm-hmm.
eating something sweet.
Hmm.
So the mind, this is like, it's a data center, right? It gets the data, and then that's how things happen. So if you have always numbed yourself, your feelings with sweet, then that's what brain knows. So although you know this is not good,
Mm-hmm.
although you've studied, you've learned, you've heard some podcasts, you've read, you have all this understanding, but
Mm-hmm.
what have you been doing? The brain will go to the same cycle,
Hmm.
because that pathway is just so firm and created in your neural network,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what you're going to do whenever you are in tough state, and whenever you're in feeling down, your brain has learned, eat sugar, you'll feel better.
Hmm.
So although you will still go with that neural pattern, because that's been established. If there is always, we don't say no in family gatherings, we eat when somebody gives us food, when somebody puts food in our plate, we don't say no, and that's the trend, that's how we've always done, then it's very difficult to say no,
Mm-hmm.
right? When some of these things are happening,
Mm-hmm.
because we feel pressured, we feel like this is a disrespect if I say no, because that's
Yeah.
what brain has learned.
आप
So
नहीं नहीं कह सकते, कोई
exactly,
आपको ऑफर कर रहा है, you cannot say no.
yeah, that's a disrespect,
हाँ.
right? So all of these things, if we've practiced, all through and through and through and through.
Mm.
And now we know something different. So
Yeah.
knowledge and information is there, but what we will end up doing is what the autopilot programming is.
Mm-hmm. All righty.
That's why.
Let's take a caller. Radio Azad, you're on the air.
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम आयशा and Neelofer.
Walaikum
Walaikum salam.
assalam.
जी I'm listening to that and I am thinking I have put some couple of my comments on the comments also and then I was also thinking हमारे culture में और हम as a child जब हम अपने बच्चों को बड़ा कर रहे होते हैं या जब हम बड़े हुए हैं तो ये भी कहा गया कि अगर कोई घर में आए तो you have to offer the food and ask them again and again that, oh, have some more, have some more. You know, we don't take no.
Mm-hmm.
और अगर ना कोई पूछे तो वो बदतमीजी या बदतहजीबी समझी जाती है.
बिल्कुल.
And I think we need to break those cycles and, you know, train ourselves and our children also. और अगर हमारा बच्चा किसी वक्त जो है वो मील स्किप भी करना चाहता है तो या if there is no reason behind that कि भी वो किसी खास वजह से कर रहा है, if he is not hungry or is not, so we should not as mothers, I know myself also, my son is adult, but I still catch myself up like, oh, did you eat? Did you eat? You know, and then I actually started talking to him and laughing that, oh, I guess as a mother, my instinct tells me to ask you that question, even though I know that you have told me, Mom, I can't take care of myself. So I think we need to find out on that, or you know, something कि हम इन cycles को break करें. That way we can help ourselves and our kids.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल सही.
बिल्कुल.
And we are going to talk about that कि how can we build this new wiring, and can adults truly change food patterns that have existed since childhood?
Yeah. Thank you for calling Shaida, and such important points that she mentioned, you
Yeah.
know, and we know things and we keep on doing. So hence how to change and how to build this new wiring. See, our brain can learn even when we are at 90. So this is not like a sentence that I've been doing this, so now I will continue to do this, right? We can change. And one important thing that we can do for change is start creating pause. So that is what we call intentional living. So slow down a bit. We do everything too fast, right? And I want to get done with this. So reflection and thinking time is not there, right? When you start creating pauses in your life, that from one activity to the next activity, when you're going, you are creating intentional pause. Or even during the activity, there is some pause, there is some slow down, there is some breathing and asking. All right? Asking myself, so, okay, I went to the ice cream. I saw it was very enticing. If I have developed this habit of, okay, take a breather, relax, pause. Do I really need this right now? Right? And then when I'm eating, even between that, creating a pause. Or when you are talking to your child and they said no to you, like what Shaida was alluding to,
Yeah.
taking a breather and saying, do I really need to force him right now? Or what am I doing? So see, when you come out of the rush of life and intentionally create pause, these pauses will come handy during the time when you are doing these kind of things for yourself or others, right? That a couple of times the other person said no to you, but you're not listening and you're in your rut. So that is when we are constantly in our life, in a rut, and we are in the go mode, and we've never learned how to create pause, how to live intentionally, then all of these other things will suffer.
Yeah.
So if you really want to rewire, pause is a big thing that I will say practice.
Okay.
Sometimes you will pause and you'll say, do I really need this? And then you'll disregard your reflection. Although you didn't need that, but you say, hey, bring it on. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe next time again, when you pause and then you're like, okay, no, I really don't need this right now. Or after finishing your food, how did I feel? Okay. And rather than blaming and shaming, really honest reflection and what will be my strategy for next time. So you see, if the pause was never created, when is this reflection going to come? We're moving from one activity to the next, and the life is just going, and the autopilot programming is running. So that is getting reinforced. So when the new programming will start and establish itself?
Yeah. The problem happens when you pause and then you get this little evil voice which says, why not?
Yes, and sometimes that will happen too.
Yes.
And why not? Okay. And then when you eat and you take that, then there's also a pause.
Yeah.
While you are eating, there is a pause.
Mm.
So there will be some pause that will tell you that why not was not good enough, or what was not,
Yeah.
did not serve me, or I did not feel my best. Right?
Mm.
So don't again go into the blame and shame that why I heard that why not.
Mhm.
Let's just go for it. We are humans,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's okay,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So giving yourself that grace and that permission to, that is like you're really respecting yourself, and you're not after yourself to put yourself down. But again, that is also an autopilot programming. That guilt and shame, we've grown with it because society has given us that guilt and shame. Parents, teachers, it comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
So we have been in that autopilot programming. So now we have to be that adult for our own self. Now, since we are grown, and if we are caring for a child, do not create that guilt and shame. For your own self, reparent yourself,
Mhm.
right? Work with yourself. That is very important. That is why we are talking about
Yeah.
these things, right?
So true, so true. So what are parents doing right in a way that supports a healthy relationship with food, and what should they continue, and what kind of small changes can parents make to create this healthier relationship?
So what parents are doing right, as we talked about it at the top of the hour when we started, that meals create togetherness. You all come together, there's
Yeah.
connection,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There is family gathering, that is positive, that is good. Parents are, if they are creating variety for kids,
Mhm.
that is something positive, that we use food for nourishment.
Mhm.
Gratitude, that is something positive.
Yeah.
Generosity that comes out of it because we share food, right? All of those things are very positive. Also, giving kids choice, that is a small action, but that can be done, where you come out of struggle and fight with food,
Mhm.
and empowering. So from struggle to empowerment,
Yeah.
choice gives that. So you give two different kinds of vegetables and have them choose.
Mm.
And that way there's not a struggle that I'm not going to eat vegetables. There's like, which one am I going to eat?
Yeah.
Right? So that's more controlled. And so choice creates empowerment. The other thing is having kids, the whole family work together. So one person is chopping, the other person is washing the vegetables or whatever the food is, the third person is setting up the table.
Mm.
The whole family is working together. Then you sit and you're all connecting, you're all creating a good environment where you're talking, laughing, or doing things. Like, not every day is going to be like that. There are extracurricular activities, there's one child who's running here, the other one. So life is happening, but creating these instances where kids are joining you in preparing food, in this activity together, taking them to the grocery store and having them choose what the family is going to eat for fruits, right, this week. Like, so they're having more say. Involving them will be very good. Like, that's how you create good habits around food.
All right. So, for adults who recognize these childhood patterns in themselves, how can they begin building a healthier relationship without trying to change everything all at once?
I would say start small, right? So
Okay.
don't change everything all at once. You don't have to create a lot of guilt or shame or this happened or that happened. Just start small and start creating that pause.
Mm.
As you create the pause, you will see before, during, after. What is happening around your habits?
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? So that is something which is very small. Start with that. If one thing that you can take that you
Mm-hmm.
want to change today is start small, create some pause, create some reflection, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are a caretaker as a parent, then make sure that you are being very intentional about the way you speak about food, the way you're creating patterns, because once these patterns are established, we have to undo them. So, not creating is a good place than to going back and undoing them.
Mm-hmm.
So that is important. So start small, I would say. Don't be so uptight and so worried about all of these things. Just take one thing at a time, pause, create pause, reflection, go about changing your habits.
Hmm. Okay. A lot of parents rely on fast food when
Hmm.
they're on the go to deal with feeding their kids. They're in the car, pick up their kids from school, stop at a McDonald's or wherever, and they'll hand it to their kids in the back seat, and then they're off to the next activity and the next activity and all that. What advice can you give these parents?
Well, if your life is very busy, and a lot of parents are in that boat, planning and prep is the name of the game. That will save you. So, having the cut up veggies, having some better snacks. Like if you have to choose between, a good and a bad, or a worst, then you make a choice where
Mm.
you're like, okay, I'm on the go, but this is a better option than this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So creating some of that and use your weekends well, to prep for the week. You know that that these 3 days where I am going back to back from school to extracurricular, and I don't have any time.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I going to do on those days?
Yeah.
What are my options? If on the way you have identified some of the better options where you can stop, identify that. Otherwise, a lot of food that is from outside and that is fast food is not good
Mm-hmm.
anyways. The
Mm-hmm.
oils that they are using, the things
Yeah.
that they are using, if kids are eating more vegetables, then you can rely on a salad. Maybe you have your own dressing and you don't put a lot of that dressing. You just because and you have planned. If you've planned, then you can take food along with you for those busy days. And then whenever, if you have planned, and say if they come home and they just have an hour before they have to go, if you have planned, that will save you because you can fix a quick meal together and feed them before you guys leave,
Mm.
right? So I think for busy people, I have worked with a lot of women who are busy, high achieving women, who run their practices, doctors, like you name it, right? And the only way that they said they can keep themselves afloat is by proper planning and prep.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the name of the game. That's how you help yourself with kids.
Mm-hmm. And what about any advice for grandparents? Because a lot of times they'll say, well, we'll just, we're there to spoil the child. So I've often seen that,
Yeah,
okay, they will introduce electronics, or they sneak candy or this kind of food or that kind of food, which the parent really doesn't want.
yeah.
So what advice would you give them?
See, the first of all, just understand that doing it sometimes is not a problem. So don't be so uptight.
Hmm.
Like for a parent who's running around and they had to stop one day to a fast food store, that's okay,
Yeah.
right? So don't be so uptight and don't stress yourself where you cannot continue doing the right thing for the rest of the week because you're so stressed about one event. So first of all, that has to be cleared. So grandparents will spoil a little bit their kids, but what I would say is, for grandparents to educate yourself. Some of the trends that we had created or which their parents had given them, they were not serving them, but they continued with it. So again, intentional living is important. So at grandparents level too, more education, more understanding, more openness toward these things, because eventually, these grandparents who love their grandchild so much, the love is also for them to be healthy and
Mm.
happy, right?
Mm.
That's the end goal.
Yeah.
So unintentionally, if we are creating things that are not serving them, if we open our mind, if we learn, if we educate ourselves, um, you know, learning is lifelong.
Yeah.
Learning does not stop, no matter what the age.
Mhm.
So keep learning and keep
Yeah.
adapting, keep changing.
All right. Any other final message that you'd like to convey?
What I would say is, why we are looking at the childhood, we are not looking at the childhood to blame or shame anybody, right?
Mhm.
We are looking backwards to then move forward with intention,
Mm.
with more understanding, with learning, right? So, whatever our patterns were, and we grew up, they are our patterns. They were the ways we lived, but that cannot be our destiny.
Mhm.
So, with practice, with awareness, with compassion, we can create better patterns. We can move toward, nourishment with foods, connection with food, right? So, creating more happiness, more connection, more nourishment. We can do that with food.
Mm.
If we are more aware, if we are compassionate to ourselves, if we give ourselves practice time, you
All
know.
right.
So that is what I will say. Don't think that this is, these patterns are your destiny. We can change. We can change things.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. You can follow Dr. Basaria on her Instagram handle and also join her free private Facebook group Beyond Weight Loss Root Cause Healing for Women. I think such invaluable advice today that we can all adapt. And I think if there's anything that I took away from this, it is be intentional. That's just nothing can replace how we go through life. Thank you so much for listening to Radio Azad 107.9 FM HD4. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media as well. And of course, save 107.9 FM HD4 to the favorites in your cars and download